Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Tech Gamers World. In this video, we're going to be unboxing, setting up, and reviewing the wireless HDMI transmitter and receiver from TeckyGem. Do these devices actually work? Well, stay tuned and let's find out. Okay everyone, welcome back. So a huge thank you to TeckyGem for sending me their wireless video transmitter and receiver to test out. Super excited to see if this actually works. Now, all opinions expressed in this video are of course my own. And with that said, if you could click that like button, follow, subscribe to me here at Tech Gamers World, that would be totally awesome. I am always having new and exciting content from the world of video games and technology dropping all the time, and I would love for you to be part of my adventures. So let's get to it. So like I said, this is the wireless video transmitter and receiver from TeckyGem. This is the WH01 model. Here is the package. Now we will be testing this out today with a Microsoft Surface Pro to simulate what would be used in a corporate/office setting or even at home for a remote workforce. I've got two monitors up here. We'll be testing with one, of course, because this is only a one-to-one transmitter and receiver. So let's open this up. Check out what's inside. So everything is in here. So it looks like, let's see, we've got the display transmitter here. We've got some adapters here. We'll take a look at those here in a minute. We've got an female to male HDMI adapter. We've got another female to male HDMI adapter. We've got user guide, looks like a setup guide here. Put those off to the side for a minute. We've got the source transmitter and receiver. We've got a USB-A to USB-C cable. And we've got, looks like another USB-A to USB-C transmitter cable. All right. So let's go ahead here and put this off to the side. Now, it says here that on the package that these devices support plug-and-play 1080p Full HD, 100-foot, 30-meter transmission, and it supports screen rotation. The back here, we've got some information about the items inside and the device requirements. So I'm super excited to see if these things actually work. I personally have never been a huge fan of wireless transmitters and receivers for sending and receiving video, but definitely going to give this a shot here. Maybe I'll be genuinely impressed. So let's see here what we're going to test out and check out first. Let's take a look at the source adapter here. So this is the source and the transmitter. So this is what's going to transmit the video signal from the device to the monitor. So it even shows you here, it says source, transmit, and then it even shows you the little out. So that's very nice. I like this a lot because it's very simplistic for end users who are not necessarily familiar with how to use this kind of stuff. There is a USB-C port here that is going to be used to provide power. And then we've got the HDMI connection. Now, what you notice are these are pretty bulky. They're not necessarily going to plug in to things like your Microsoft Surface, your laptop, etc. So they've included a female to male adapter. So basically you can go ahead here and plug in the transmitter or receiver into the adapter so that now you've got the cable connection here. So that's pretty nice. And now we've got the same thing here for the display. So this is the receive end, hence the RX. And you can see the little image here showing the screen with the arrow pointing into it, and the same thing. So we're going to go ahead here and connect up the adapter. So now we've got the cable. Now they also do include some HDMI to mini HDMI adapters. That's really cool if you have these type of connections, whether it's on a TV, a screen, monitor, you name it. That's awesome that they provide these. I won't be needing these for purposes of this video, so we're just going to go ahead and put those aside here. So let's talk a little bit about why they include USB-A to USB-C cables. This is for power because you are going to be using HDMI connections and transmitting video. You need to provide power. So what they give here, and I'll show you closer, is a USB-A, which is this one, to USB-C, which is this one, cable. So this is how you're going to provide power to the transmitter and receiver devices. Now, very important thing that I should note that TeckyGem did not include power adapters with the USB cable. So you need to provide your own. You need to provide a 5-volt, 2-amp power adapter. Now, an example of that would be an Apple iPad charger, one of the ones that has a USB-A port on it. This is a 5-volt, 2.4-amp power adapter, and you can see that if you look close at the bottom here, it shows you the specifications. So always look at your power adapter to see which one will work. You need to have the equivalent or slightly greater power adapter than the specs require so that it properly works. If you plug in one that is not the same rating or lower, it will not work. So if you were to use a 5-volt, 1-amp power adapter, it's not guaranteed that the devices will work. So always use the power adapter specified. I wish companies would provide power adapters with all of their products because then you would not have to play this game of what power adapter do I use. But that is become the norm over the years. So we have 2 of these here, 1, 2, one for the transmit and one for the receive. So now we're going to be testing this out here. So because my Microsoft Surface here, and I'll show you, only has USB-C ports on it, that is the power side, I need another adapter. So I've got a USB-C to HDMI adapter. This will convert the HDMI signal to USB-C to work with my Microsoft Surface. This may not be needed based on your setup, but for me it is. Most modern laptops have done away with the older style USB-A port in favor of the smaller USB-C port. So with that said here, let's go ahead and get this all connected, shall we? Okay, so let's go ahead here and move everything off to the side here. We are going to get our Microsoft Surface in place here. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is connect up this to the monitor. So to do that here, I have to spin this way here, disconnect the existing HDMI cable, connect up the new HDMI cable. There we go. Now, we can put this back here, and we'll adjust the camera when we're ready here. So we've got it connected. Now we need to run power. So like I said, you're going to use the provided USB-A to USB-C cable and use a 5-volt, 2.4-amp charger. Just going to go ahead here, plug that in. Now, because this is for testing purposes, we're not going crazy with cleanliness. If you were doing this in an office space or corporate environment, you would, of course, have your stuff cleaned up. So that is connected there. Good. Ah, the screen turned on. So as you can see here, the screen turned on. That's cool. So it has a built-in system to show you the connections. So that's awesome. All right. So next up, we need to set up the transmitter side. So let's get my Microsoft Surface opened up here. All right. So we've got that here. We'll set that up right like so. Now, we need to do the same thing. So we need to connect up the transmitter side. Now, like I said, for the Microsoft Surface, I need to use an adapter to convert the HDMI to USB-C. So I'm going to plug the transmitter piece into the HDMI port on the USB-C converter. Then go ahead and plug the USB-C cable into my Microsoft Surface. I can hear that the cable was detected. And now we need to configure, plug in the power. So you can see it's trying to send, look at that. It actually sent the signal without me using the power. That's surprising. The USB-C port here must provide enough power to send the signal. But for purposes of, continuity here, we're going to go ahead and get the power adapter set up here. Actually, and there it has reestablished itself. Awesome, awesome. Look at that. So we are now transmitting my Microsoft Surface wirelessly over to that screen. So that is awesome. So let's check, overall latency here. So we're going to go ahead here and move my Microsoft Surface. Let's get this pointed at this screen here. So let's see. Here is the wireless transmitter link on Amazon here, which is awesome. Let's go and open up a new window and go to YouTube. Always a good way to check some latency is with YouTube. We'll just find here. We'll search Tech Gamer World. We'll find us a good video to watch. This one looks good. So of course there won't be any sound right now that you will be able to hear, but you can see that it is working nicely. There is my video here. So overall thoughts here. Color looks good. You'll notice that the resolution on the screen is slightly different than what's on the Microsoft Surface. That's normal. You would just have to adjust it and modify it based on what your resolution is for your screen. I'm not going to go into that in this video. We're just going to test out the overall quality and look. So, colors compared to the original look overall pretty good here. Back this up a bit more here so we can see. Overall, the colors look good. I don't see any latency in the mouse movements, displays, jitter, etc. So that's pretty good here. Honestly, the color is really, really good. This is really, really nice. It is a little bit washed out compared to the original, but that is to be expected with a device like this. Anytime you introduce a device in the way, so between the device itself and the monitor TV, expect the colors to shift slightly. You can see here the blues are different, so it's darker, so out lighter. This also could be the monitor, can't rule that out. But overall, for purposes of what I would use something like this for, this is totally awesome. If I was going to a client site or a meeting with someone who I wanted to show my YouTube channel to for a partnership while we're in a conference room, this thing would be awesome to have. Just say, here, plug this in. I plug it into my device, and we are good to go. And apparently, too, it can even power itself here, which is awesome. So I'm going to test that one more time here. Let's see what happens if I disconnect the power from the transmitter. So the power is disconnected. You can use the controller for free look and assign buttons to some. And there it is. So it switched, and as you can see, it is now sending the signal without power. Now that's probably because the USB-C port is providing enough power to the transmitter for it to work, but that is pretty awesome. So, final thoughts here. This thing is awesome. This HDMI wireless transmitter and receiver from TeckyGem has really, really exceeded my expectations. It is so easy to set up, and apparently works without power on the transmit side, which makes things even easier. I wonder if they know that. Obviously, again, it would depend on what kind of a device you have. So I love the fact they give you these nice instructions here, which I, of course, didn't even need, but it's all here. The transmit, the receive side, how to set it up, the connection diagrams, how to pair the devices. If they don't pair, you can hold the button here, which will force pairing, which is pretty cool. Mine automatically paired, which is kind of what I figured it would do. You can carry this with you to show you how to set up step 1, step 2, step 3. You could be up and running and transmitting wirelessly in under 5 minutes. That is awesome. And as you can see here on their Amazon page, they have a very nice price point. As of the writing of this video, creation of this video, it is $80. And I'm going to go ahead and put a link in the description and comments section of this video to link you to TeckyGem's wireless HDMI transmitter and receiver. So a huge thank you to TeckyGem for sending this to me. You definitely exceeded my expectations. This thing is totally awesome. Hope everybody checks it out and grabs one for yourself. And as always, if you could click that like button, follow and subscribe to me here at Tech Gamers World, that would be totally awesome. I love meeting new people, meeting new gamers, exploring technology, and just learning about the world. So thanks a lot, everybody, and I will see you around. Keep on gaming and keep on getting out there and loving technology. Have a good one.